The transport shuttle Horizon's Edge drifted in the void between star systems, its engines cold and navigation systems flickering erratically. Aboard, 17 students from various species sat in the darkened cabin, their breathing apparatus providing the only sounds in the eerie silence. "Power reserves at 12%, announced the ship's automated system in a calm, dispassionate voice. Most passengers remained still, their training at the Galactic Academy having prepared them for such emergencies. The standard protocol was clear: conserve energy, maintain calm, and wait for rescue vessels to arrive within the next 48 hours. 3 human students, Tom, Lisa, and David, exchanged glances before springing into action, much to the bewilderment of their classmates. "What are you doing?" asked Vel, a crystalline being whose faceted body reflected what little light remained. "Protocol states we should remain in our seats." "Human protocols are different," Tom replied, pulling apart a maintenance panel with practiced efficiency. "We don't wait when we can act." Lisa had already begun stripping insulation from damaged wiring while David rummaged through the emergency supplies. Their movements were swift and decisive, lacking the careful deliberation their alien classmates would employ. "This is dangerous," protested Quinn, whose tentacles writhed nervously. "You could make things worse. Or we could die in 48 hours when help arrives and we're out of oxygen," David countered, pulling out medical supplies and placing them in strategic locations throughout the cabin. The human students worked with an intensity that bordered on frenetic. They had already identified the primary power coupling failure, the backup life support malfunction, and the communication array damage, all within the first 10 minutes. "Look," Lisa explained, sparks flying as she reconnected circuits. "Humans evolved on a death world. Our entire culture is built on the concept that if something's broken, you fix it. You don't wait for someone else to solve your problems." Vel's crystalline surface dimmed further. "But the emergency protocols are based on millennia of research. The safest approach will kill us all," Tom interrupted, his hands now deep in the power distribution unit. "Human survival rate in emergency situations is astronomically higher than any other known species. Do you know why?" The cabin fell silent except for the sound of tools and the hum of newly restored systems. "Because we assume the worst will happen," Tom continued. "And we prepare for it. Every human ship, every human station, every human settlement has redundant systems, emergency protocols, and most importantly, the expectation that people will act, not wait." David had begun organizing the other students into work groups despite their protests. "You with the fine motor control," he pointed to Shin, a species with multiple delicate appendages, "help with the circuit repairs. The strong ones, help clear the debris from the engine access." "I don't understand," Quinn said, reluctantly moving to assist. "Why do you assume failure is inevitable?" "Because on Earth," Lisa replied, sweat beading on her forehead as she worked. "It always was. Hurricanes, earthquakes, floods, predators, disease. Our entire existence was one emergency after another. Waiting for help meant death." The alien students watched in fascination as the humans transformed their methodical approach into something altogether different. Where other species saw problems requiring careful analysis and optimal solutions, humans saw only obstacles to overcome immediately. Within 2 hours, power levels had increased to 30%. The life support systems hummed back to life, and the communication array had partially restored function. "Emergency beacon operational," announced the ship's computer. "But help isn't due for 24 hours, Vel observed, "and we'll be alive to meet them." Tom grinned, wiping his hands on a rag. "Because we didn't wait." As rescue ships approached the following day, they found the Horizon's Edge not only operational, but already underway toward the nearest station, its mixed crew working harmoniously at their respective stations. The rescue captain, a veteran spacer from the Dominion fleet, transmitted with curiosity rather than urgency. "Horizon's Edge, this is surprising. We expected to find you in minimal power mode." Tom responded, "Negative, Captain. Full power restored, life support optimal, and heading home." "The humans taught us something today." Quinn, now manning a station alongside David, added, "We learned that sometimes the safest thing isn't the best thing. Sometimes you have to trust, in action. Understood, Horizon's Edge, the captain replied, a note of approval in his voice. The Galactic Academy will want to hear about this. As the transport continued its journey, the students found themselves viewing emergencies through a different lens. The humans hadn't performed miracles, they had simply refused to accept that problems couldn't be solved, that waiting was the only option. I think, Vel said quietly, their crystalline body now fully luminous. We need to reconsider our emergency training protocols. Not just protocols, Lisa replied, checking the final system readings, but our entire approach to survival. The universe is dangerous, unpredictable, and often hostile. You can't wait it out. You have to face it head on. The other students nodded in agreement, understanding now why humanity had earned its reputation as the problem solvers of the galaxy. They didn't wait for optimal solutions or perfect timing. They acted, adapted, and survived by confronting problems immediately rather than hoping they would resolve themselves. The Horizon's Edge docked at its destination 3 days early, carrying not just its original passengers, but a new understanding of emergency response that would ripple through the Galactic Academy's training programs for generations to come.